Gemini moons, a lot of them find it really difficult to have peace of mind. Like a lot of the times, their mental chatter never really stops. It's like their mind is always talking all the time. So they are the type of people who find meditation really difficult. Like they won't be able to sit in one place and just focus on one thing for a long period of time. So if you want to know more about Gemini moons, this is the video on Gemini moons, then, stay tuned to watch this video. Hi guys, today I wanted to talk a little bit about Gemini moons. What happens if your moon sign is in the airy Mercury sign of Gemini? So before I go ahead with the video, guys, I want to let you know that I help people overcome challenges in their life, obstacles, and anything that's holding you back in your life. I help you move forward and remove these barriers to your success and true potential in life. So I do natal chart readings, I do Synastry chart readings, and I also do tarot card readings. I analyze your birth chart. I figure out where exactly the challenges lie in your life. It can be love, relationships, career, finances, or your health. So, you may be stuck in a dead-end 9-to-5 job. You're not really liking it. And you want to know how you can start utilizing your real gifts, your real talents, and really move forward towards the true purpose and true paths in your life. So I can help you do that. You can send me your birth chart details and I can do a professional reading for you. I also do Synastry chart readings. If you're in a love relationship and if you want to know where the relationship is headed, whether it's going to be harmonious, if there are going to be issues down the road, then you can get a Synastry chart reading done for me. And I also do tarot card readings, so I analyze your past, present, and future. And I tell you where your life is headed, what direction your life is going to be headed, and what you need to do to really start pushing through those challenges and obstacles in your life. So if you'd like to get a reading done, you can get in touch with me on my website, that's Venusianscorp.com. You can get in touch with me on my Facebook page, that's facebook.com/Venusianscorp. And you can even drop me an email at astroluck. And you can even drop me an email at astroluck111@gmail.com and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Alright, so let's get started with Gemini moons. So, the moon is your emotional state of mind. It's how you react at the very deep subconscious level. At a very instinctual level, the way you react to situations, people, places, things, that's your moon sign. Gemini is an air sign. It's ruled by Mercury. It's a very quick-witted, quick-thinking sign. It's mutable, which means they change very often. The symbol of Gemini is the twins. So there is this duality to their personality. So when you mix the two, when you have a moon in Gemini, it means that, the way you think, it's going to be changeable in nature. What I mean by that is, like, you may say something one day, but means something completely different, and that's again because of the mutable nature of Gemini. Its symbol is the twins, so there is this dual aspect to the personality. Like they may they sort of tend to be a little bit two-faced in that sense. So they may say something, but actually they meant something else, and so in communication this can cause a bit of a conflict to people around them because they don't know what to expect with a Gemini moon. Gemini moons, they're also very restless in nature. Like, they're the type of people who need mental stimulation and, something to keep their mind occupied at all times. That's because, Gemini is an air sign, and just like all the other air signs, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, all of them, they need a lot of mental stimulation. Like, they need stuff to keep their mind occupied at all times. So Gemini moon is going to be the type of person who's always on their gadgets, always on their phones a lot of the times. They'll probably be playing some kind of video games or browsing the internet or just doing something that challenges their mind and keeps their mind occupied all the time. Gemini moons can be very restless because, like I said, they are ruled by the air element, and they're mercurial. So they're in their head a lot of the times. They tend to overthink a lot, overanalyze a lot. Just like Virgo, the other sign that's ruled by Mercury, Gemini also tends to be quite critical of themselves and of other people around themselves. So, their criticism is mostly directed towards their own selves. They think that they need to be perfectionists most of the time. So a lot of them may suffer from anxiety before they even start a project, because they have this fear that it needs to be perfect. It needs to be just the right way that they have envisioned, that they have planned in their minds. And so it's almost like Gemini moons don't give themselves any room for mistakes, Like they have such a notion of perfection, like it has to go a certain way, it has to be a certain way. Like they have this idea in their mind that something needs to be a certain way, that even before they start doing it, they sort of feel very overwhelmed by the whole experience. Because if you don't give yourself that allowance that, there could be mistakes along the way, it doesn't have to be perfect all the time, you are going to be having a lot of anxiety around doing a particular task, So Gemini moons tend to suffer from that a lot. They tend to have trouble falling asleep. That's something I've noticed with a lot of Gemini moons. It's like their mind never falls asleep. Their mind is never able to relax. It's like they need to get away from their own selves, their own minds all of the time. On one side, and on one level, they always need some kind of mental preoccupation. They always need something to keep themselves mentally sharp and busy and, occupied. But at the same time, your mind needs to rest, right? Your mind needs to shut down after a point. The brain is designed to work up to a certain extent. After that, you need rest and relaxation. But Gemini moons seem to struggle with this aspect, because even when they are trying to relax, it's like the mental chatter never really stops. Like I said at the beginning of my video, it's like their mind is always busy, it's always active. They don't know what to do with even their free time. So it's like, even when a Gemini moon is relaxing, they'll probably turn to things that are related to technology. Like, they'll be on the internet browsing, or they'll be solving a puzzle, or they will be trying how things work, trying to figure out the inner workings of some machinery or something like that. So Gemini moons are always they're always very inquisitive, very curious people. They like to know how things work. That's why a lot of them like to do puzzles. They like to solve things. So like this may mean taking apart some piece of machinery and then trying to put it back again, just to stimulate their mind and be able to figure out, okay, this is how the machinery works, this is how it operates, this is how it, the cogs and wheels fit together. So Gemini moons can be a lot like that in their temperament. I used to have, there used to be someone I knew who had a Gemini moon, and he used to say that, I feel so restless all the time. It's like my mind never sleeps. I just have such a hard time falling asleep. And these are the type of people who will struggle to meditate, because like I said, for them, just sitting in one place and letting their mind be a blank canvas, that is very difficult for them, because they always need that mental charge, that mental stimulation to feel safe. Because your moon is also how you feel secure, how you feel emotionally stable. And for these guys to feel stable, they need to have that mental stimulation going on at all times. So it's like, even when they're trying to get away from their mental headspace, it's almost like they need some other form of mental stimulation to be able to relax. It's kind of a contradiction, but Gemini is about contradictions. The other thing I wanted to talk about is about relationships. Now, Gemini moons are the type of people who may struggle to be in a long-term relationship. And I don't mean this in a negative or disrespectful way. It's just that because Gemini is an air sign and it's mutable, which means it's changeable. So they, and also because of the fact that they tend to like a lot of variety in their life. Like they are the type of people who get bored very quickly. So, the mundane aspects of a relationship can often feel very jarring to them. Like, what is this? Like, they are the type of people who struggle to stay in a long-term relationship because they don't like being so up close and personal and having to look at the other person's flaws, which is bound to happen in a relationship. When you're in a long-term relationship, in an intimate relationship, you are going to be getting to know things about each other that are not always pleasant. And Gemini moons, they are always looking for the next exciting thing. That is the nature of their mind. They love excitement, they love variety, they love exploring new and interesting things. They're very adventurous. So for them to be stuck in a sort of a routine, which is what a stable, secure relationship generally tends to be about, a kind of a routine, stability, mundane things going on, those things don't really interest a Gemini moon. They may get bored with that kind of thing very, very easily. And so even if they are in a long-term relationship, they may be the type of people who need that escape. So maybe in their day job, they may like to flirt a lot with their colleagues or with people around them, just to get that sense of thrill and excitement that, they still have it going for them, that, they're not tied down in the relationship, that they're not like stuck in this one relationship, that, other people still find them attractive. So for a Gemini moon, they somehow, I feel like they have the need to be seen. Like they need to feel like, other people are finding them attractive, good looking, or like, they still have it in them to have a good conversation going on, like something that sparks wit and fun and interest and excitement in the conversation. Like they are very witty, they are very funny people, like they have a lot of humor. They love to crack jokes and people love to be around them in social gatherings because they are very witty and spontaneous in their responses. So they are the life of the party, but when it comes to relationships, this can be a sort of a double-edged sword because they're always trying to look for excitement. So mundane, long-term, stable relationships don't really do it for Gemini moons. I knew some people who are Gemini moons who have actually told me that, relationships are just too much for them. It's just too much, like because their mind is always in a state of burnout. There's so much going on in their minds. It's always so active and busy that having that extra pressure to also be able to maintain a relationship and keep it down is just almost too much for a Gemini moon to bear. And so they struggle with this aspect. They often like to get away. They feel that need that they need to get away from the relationship because it just feels too much for them. Also a Gemini at its very heart, at its very core, is a child. It's like a childlike energy. It's very vibrant, it's very enthusiastic. So Gemini moons can be very playful, in their minds and in their spirits. So they need something that is youthful around them. Whether that be a relationship, whether that be the job that they do, they like to surround themselves in youthful environments. Even the clothes that they wear, a lot of the time Gemini moons will dress younger than their age. Like they'll be very clued into the latest fashion, the latest trends, what the latest style trends are, and they tend to shop in such a way that it makes them look much younger than they really are. Gemini moons, like I said, in the relationship, even if they are in a long-term relationship, they like to think of themselves as being single. Like they don't like to have that mental perception that, okay, they're stuck in a relationship, they're tied down, and like they're in a committed relationship. They like to think of themselves as being, these free birds, like they can do whatever they want, they can go out and explore and experiment and do whatever they want. The other thing I wanted to say is Gemini moons, they love to learn new things. Again, this ties in with the whole need to mentally stimulate themselves, and Gemini is about details. It's also about academics. So Gemini moons, they love to learn about new skills, new subjects. They tend to know a lot about everything. They're the type of people who sit down with an encyclopedia and read it from start to finish. They love trivia. They love learning about new skills, new subjects, new topics. And like I said, they tend to know a little about everything. And but one of the drawbacks is in Gemini moons is they do not like to study through conventional means. So if they have grown up They don't like to go back to the conventional ways of studying, like through textbooks and regular conventional classroom teaching. So they probably learn through YouTube videos or other unconventional methods, like maybe online classrooms, and learn as much as they can to enhance their skills. They are also very DIY type of people. You know, if there is one sign in the zodiac that loves to, you know, figure things out by themselves and do everything by themselves, it would be a Gemini moon, because again, they like to know how things operate. They like to understand the inner workings of things. And so they like to learn new things and try and apply it themselves. So, you know, these are the type of people who will learn a new skill and they will try and apply it into some new project that they have going on at their workplace or in their personal life. And you know, it's about details. Gemini is about details. So these people are very detail oriented. They are perfectionists. They are very self-critical a lot of the times. Like, they think that they can do better, they can always improve, they can always get to a better level. So this can be like an always like an ever-evolving self-improvement exercise, where the Gemini moon is always trying to cross a new hurdle, where they're never really satisfied with what they've already achieved or accomplished. They do tend to be very self-critical, Gemini moons in general. Gemini moons can also be a little bit manipulative sometimes. And the reason I say this is because, you know, Gemini is a mutable air sign, and it's also ruled by Mercury, which is a fast-moving planet. So they tend to be very quick-witted. They tend to be very, very adaptable in social contexts. Like, for example, if you're at a party and a Gemini moon is conversing with you, they will be very, very clued into, you know, your perspective, where you're coming from. And they can really adapt their own conversation to your conversation style and make their conversation sound like what it is that you want to hear. So that's kind of like a subtle manipulation going on right there, because they are trying to align their own communication with yours so that you feel like you guys are on the same wavelength. And in this way, they try to get whatever they want done from you. So in that sense, they can be very, very slick, very smooth talkers. You know, they're very, very smooth talkers. They know how people think. They know what it is that people want to hear. And they'll be very, very sure to say exactly what you want to hear in the way that you want to hear it. And so it's a great way to get people to vibe with them, to really align with them, and eventually get them to do whatever it is that they want. So guys, that's my take on Gemini moons. If you like my video, please do give it a thumbs up. I really love the support and encouragement that you guys give me. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. For those of you who haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. If you like my content, if you like my astrology videos, do subscribe and do click on the bell icon next to the subscribe button, so that whenever I post a new video, you guys can get an update and a notification whenever a new video is out. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday, so there's a lot of content coming up, and stay tuned. And get in touch with me, guys, if you want a natal chart reading done. And thanks a lot for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye.